Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Couch Surfing Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. We are going to dive in the world of television, from streaming to network to reality TV, you name it. Matthew Fox watches more than I do, but we're going to dive in. I don't know how it might be bi-weekly, bi-monthly. Who knows what we're going to do, whatever the hell my schedule fits in for this. But as always, I'm joined here by Mr. Matthew Fox. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm thinking bi-monthly is where we're like twice a month and not twice a week.
Oh, what did I say? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
You know what's fun though about TV is it's almost the inverse of where you end up with films. Like at the beginning of the year, January, February, it's kind of like a dumping ground for films, and it's not exceptional for new ones because people are talking about. But it's like the heart of the season for Emmy consideration window, which wraps up like at the end of May. So you really have TV kind of exploding in the first 3 or 4 months of the year, and that's been fun. There's a whole bunch of shows that I never thought I wanted a second season or would even tolerate a second season. That damn if they didn't suck me right back in.
Yeah, it definitely is quite interesting to see some elements of that in this. You know what I mean? There's definitely been a lot of shows so far, good, bad, or indifferent. Obviously, there has been some rough ones, rough around the edge ones, where I'm still very confused about what I watched. Like Free Burt comes to mind. Watching the first 2 episodes of that was the first 3 episodes of that was damn near painful for me. And I love Bert Kreischer, and I like his shtick, even though I think his shtick's overblown. But that one's like one of the first ones that comes to mind. So if we're thinking about bad television that you've watched so far this year, what's the first show that comes to mind for you?
Oh man, there have been a lot of things that I kind of gave up on. I don't know if one like totally leaps out. I did not like that Freebird. There have been usually every week you can kind of tell when I go through my TV column what I like. I don't keep a list of my bottom of TV, but there have been a lot of I will tell you what I was 100% out on was that Ryan Murphy show, The Beauty.
Oh, I actually kind of like that one.
It was like a homeless man's substance. The substance. I know it's based on some kind of IP material, but I was like, no.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I do agree with you. There is some shows coming out in the very near future. I am kind of excited about and interested to see, because, like you said, we're on the cusp of that. On the cusp of the Emmy season. So basically March, April, May is really the strong suit of a lot of different things, and sometimes shows don't start strong and then don't finish as strong. There's been several TV shows like that, but we're just going to talk about some shows that we both liked, or maybe one of us liked. But I do want to touch on one show that I know we both like, and that's Shrinking, right? So with Shrinking, it's one of those shows where when you're watching it, you watch the first season and you're so emotionally invested. Second season, you get the third season, and it's crazy to think the consistency of the writing of these characters that keep you invested. And each character, no matter how big or how small their role are, is very pivotal. It reminds me a lot of like Schitt's Creek in a way, because like a lot of the smaller characters of like Schitt's Creek were pivotal to the ultimate goal of the show. But like this one's a little bit more deep, or not a lot more deep and serious. But when I think of like deep characters, you think about that. I don't know if this should work as well as it does, but it's one of the most poignant written shows we have. I think it's such an essential show of society too, right? Because of the way it tackles the mental health, it tackles, going to the, getting help, but just in general. So I love the way they develop these characters, and I've loved the first 3 seasons of the show so much. And season 3 was just had me in tears several times. So
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's probably about halfway through its run for people who are watching it week to week on Apple. You and I
forgot
got a
about
chance
that.
to go ahead a little
Forgot
bit,
about that.
and I think it remains completely. Yeah, I had to go back and look too, because I tend to be like you. Ones that I really like, I don't tend to just stop if we have the chance week to week. But it looks like episode 5 of 11 just aired this last week. I think it's been consistently good. I don't really understand what's going on with Apple. Like, it doesn't. I think the show is on the level with Ted Lasso. I think it's better than what they have in the morning show. It doesn't feel like they promote it that much. It just kind of pops out. Like, I think it's better than Severance, but it doesn't get that promotional push. And you hear a lot of like critics or people who have seen it. Almost everyone who's seen it likes it and talks about how much they enjoy it, but it just doesn't seem to bubble up quite as high. It doesn't seem to get the promotion, kind of slides under the radar. I know I was talking to someone, they're like, oh, I didn't know it was back. And that's kind of a shame. It kind of just dropped in there the end of January. But I enjoy it quite a bit. Some great stuff from Harrison Ford, but I think it's been an interesting start to the year actually for Apple, because Shrinking's back, really enjoying that. And they have a trio of shows that I thought were going to be one-off limited series. And I think at the time they made them, probably they thought were going to be one-off limited series that all debuted like 2 or 3 years ago, that have come back for a second season. And really quickly, Drops of God, which is based on a manga about kind of the wine industry. It's in Japanese, English, French. This year it's also in, I think it's Russian is another language they drop in there. The Last Thing He Told Me, which was based on a novel, Jennifer Garner, they actually made a sequel novel, so they are doing a second season. And probably the most surprising to me, Hijack with Idris Elba, who, that seemed those all seem like real self-contained one season and wrapped everything up neatly. And I'm like, why would they bring them back? And yet I've enjoyed all of them in various ways. I thought Hijack season 2 started really slow, but it picked up a little bit and got a little bit better. The Last Thing He Told Me, it came out in 2023, like early 2023. And I was like, I don't need to revisit this. But maybe owing to the fact that they had another novel to go off of, and they just kept bringing in, like, the second season added Judy Greer and John Noble and Luke Kirby, and it was really good. And Drops of God was one of my favorite shows when it premiered. I'm not into manga. I'm not into wine. I'm not into French films. So I'm like, none of this should on paper. And it sucked me right back in. And season 2, which started at the beginning of January, is almost done with its run, completely sucked me in again. I think it's one of the best written shows on TV. Right now, Apple has my 2 favorite shows of the year so far, in Shrinking and Drops of God. But it's just fascinating that these things that they shouldn't have had a second season, they didn't need a second season, and yet, I don't know, it works.
Yeah, Hijack one for me is like, when I watched the first season, I enjoyed it, and I was like, does this really need a second season? And you watch it, and you're like, yeah, it did. Now I want a third season of him on a fucking boat or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, find a way to keep it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they need to change, though. He needs to be like they need to fold him into the intelligence agencies. That would probably help it to work better if you're going to keep doing this.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. On the flip side, right, HBO Max, HBO in general, they are a show that or a network that consistently does a great job of working very well. And I'm going to talk about one that I wasn't expecting to be good, or not expecting it. I'm a big fan of the Game of Thrones world, and I'm a huge fan. I liked House of Dragons. I think you can spin it out every which way. I'm going to be invested. But I remember sitting there, and again, very lucky to be in the space that I'm in and stuff like that. And I remember sitting there watching the Knights of the Seven Kingdom, and I'm watching it. Watch the first episode, and I was like, man, that was fast. That was a quick episode. I watched a second, and in one sitting, I had watched all 6 episodes, and I was like, I love that. That was far better than I thought it was going to be, and I loved the comedic element of it. Like, we all know that there's comedy within the world of like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, but this was leaned a little bit heavier into that a little bit, while also all but having very serious moments. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know how they keep doing. Obviously, I'm assuming it's because they have great source material. I don't read books, so I can't tell you if it's great source material or not. But it has to be because the way that they're able to consistently develop these shows. But it is one of my favorite shows of the year based on just how the consistent nature of what they're bringing to the table. These characters are interesting. I almost felt like it was like a buddy comedy ride in some elements with our leads. But yeah, Knights of Seven Kingdoms is something I really enjoyed. And tell me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I thought it started a little bit slow, a little bit different, going for kind of a different tone. So if you were going in expecting Game of Thrones or even House of the Dragon, it's a very different tone, different style, shooting for those 30 minutes. And it took a couple episodes to get into it. It was probably about around the midpoint of the season that I really kind of switched over. I think episode 4 is still right now my favorite episode of the year, period. Of TV shows. I thought what they did was really good. I thought the way it ended was good. I'm excited to see it come back. I think they really kind of built into the two characters, Dunk and Egg. It made me curious to read the book. Which, if you are a House of the Dragon fan, do not read that book. Just let the sadness of the show wash over you for what's to come. Because I read that book after the last season, and my enthusiasm for finishing that as a show has fallen into a toilet and been flushed down the river with the alligators. But Night of the Seven Kingdoms, supposedly they're kind of brisk, more upbeat, I would say Game of Thrones tends to be a little violent and somber and serious, and let's just be honest, depressing. Both shows tend to be depressing. This had emotions, and there were some sad things that happened. I'm not going to pull away from that. There were some bummers, but it doesn't feel bound by the heaviness, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's what stands out the most about this, right? I think that's what's standing out the best about this series, and then as we continue to watch it, it's a lot of fun and different and unique, and I like that element of that. So I do think it's a lot to really kind of enjoy, and again, there is some somber moments, but then of course, talking about a first great season followed by a second season that really has you clinging onto your ears, and obviously that's The Pit, right? I think both of our favorite show of last year, right?
Yeah, and it may end up there again this year, about halfway through the run. 15 episodes, they go in real time. Another one that I'm just always excited when it drops on Thursdays. It's been a very different feeling season, but equally as powerful.
Yeah, I love the way they touch on things. I love how they're not afraid to dive into some natures of things that they need to. They don't sugarcoat anything either. I think that's what makes it stand out the most is they don't sugarcoat anything, and I love that element of things. I love how involved you can tell the individuals are behind the scenes in creating the show and ensuring the authenticity of the stories and stuff like that. I got a buddy of mine that lives up in the Pittsburgh area, and it's like, yeah, man, this hits the nail on the head a lot of the time. So, but yeah, I mean, it's heading on its way to being one of another phenomenal season where it's like you're crazy to imagine and think of like how it's going to top the previous, and somehow you can have a 15 episode season, and in this day and age is unheard of, right? You know what I mean? It's not as common as it used to be. It's crazy to think that we used to have 23 episode seasons. I'm so far happy that we're beyond those days.
Those early seasons of ER were sometimes 25 or 26.
Right. So it's like, I'm so glad we're beyond the days of 23 episode seasons, especially stuff like this. Like ER is a lot different. Obviously, you're continuing storylines in those things, but they're also like its own entity in a lot of different ways. So I love this element, but I think there's a show on Prime Video I think that you liked that I have not seen yet. I haven't even seen the first season of it, so I feel awful. So I'm gonna let you take the floor on that one.
Yeah, Prime Video, probably the biggest thing that's come out, and this one's going week to week, is a little bit into its run, and that is Cross. A very darker take on the Alex Cross character in books, Aldous Hodge playing Alex Cross. I've gone through the season. I have to go back and check real quick. I think that we are about halfway through in terms of what they did a 3-episode drop. They have had 5 of 8 have aired. It is a real dark, kind of menacing crime drama. I would not say it's for the faint of heart, but I enjoy Aldous Hodge in the lead role. Kind of like the mercurial way that it's written. I like the main big bad this season, and kind of the case that they're diving into, and where it's putting everything. So and it has, even though it's a darker show, it has some funnier things. Like Cross's partner in there is played by an actor, Isaiah Mustafa, who would be instantly recognizable to you as the Old Spice man. He does the Old Spice commercials. And early up in the second season, they had a thing where he had come in to work out, and so he's like, "Oh, you stink, you need deodorant." And it was a throwaway line, but if you recognize him and you know what he's from, it kind of made me laugh in like those James Bond pun kind of ways. So it has things like that just kind of, I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first season. I enjoyed the second season. Obviously, kind of dark, but another show that came back that I think we both like, that I just think is consistently a good time, is on Netflix, is The Lincoln Lawyer. And we got season 4. I love that these are binge drops because I binge watched the whole thing in about a day and a half. And I like that Nev Campbell, who is the best part of a movie that we won't talk about that's out in theaters this weekend, had a bigger role after being, I think she was minimized because she was shooting said movie when they were doing season 3.
Actually, she was minimized because she went to do Twisted Metal, and then there was another show. She actually left the show.
Well, I think it's better when she's in there. There is a moment in the season where she takes on a bigger role, and like, I actually jumped up and applauded when it ends one of the episodes. She marches into the court and says, "Maggie McPherson for the defense." I was like,
let's go.
Yeah. So I just like the way that it, the way that it all comes together. I know you enjoy that show too. That's another one. I don't think it gets enough credit. It goes like under the radar. Michael Connelly had another book series that was a show called Bosch that was on Prime Video that lasted, it plus its spinoff lasted 10 seasons. That was consistently one of my favorite shows on TV because of the writing and the characters and the world building. And The Lincoln Lawyer, if they make this for a decade, I'd be pleased as punch.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, it's crazy. I absolutely love Manuel Garcia Rufalo in this role.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was made for this role, period. Like, I think the way that he commands a courtroom is some of the most impressive things that you'll see. Like, obviously, yeah, it's called The Lincoln Lawyer, but over time, like, there's so many courtroom dramas that are always boring. But what I love about his character is that he's bringing so much. He brings the sarcasm. He's got the charm. He knows when to put it on, right? And he can be the asshole when he needs to be the asshole in the courtroom. And I think that it's genuinely shocking to almost witness the feat of what he's able to bring to the table. Because I agree with you 1000%. I don't understand the lack of like attention that these shows sometimes get. And I understand sometimes people look at them as less than, I guess you could say, you know what I mean? Like, they're just these full binges or whatever. But there's times where I think, I'm like, man, I'm sitting there watching the show. I'm like, Rufo, he should be in the conversation for just at least being nominated, like maybe not even nominated, but like, can he at least be in the conversation for being nominated for his portrayal of this? Because I feel like it's that good. And he's just left off time and time again. So, but Lincoln Lawyer, this might be my favorite season yet. I have to really think about it, because there hasn't been a bad season, but I'm trying to remember it was 2 or 3 that I was like, it's okay. Whatever one they split up, I thought the first half was better than the second half, or vice versa, whatever what it was. But they had split it up one year. I'm glad they didn't split it this time. They gave it all to us at once, but definitely something I enjoyed.
I don't think I even noticed that they split it up because I think I just waited until it was available because it is kind of one of those that's fun to like binge your way through. But Netflix drops, tons of new content. They have new shows every week. That's one of the few that I look forward to, and I thought it delivered. I liked their earlier miniseries, His and Hers. But that's about, Netflix puts us a wash in content, but it doesn't all, I think, have a long lasting hit.
No, I agree with you. His and Hers is something I really enjoyed. I thought that was really good. I do think that one of my favorite things about His and Hers obviously was the ending. I love the uncharacteristic endings. That to me is something that I really, really enjoyed. It's different. It reminded you a lot if you watched Apple TV's Presumed Innocent. I felt like the ending of Presumed Innocent and the ending of His and Hers were correlated a lot. Which I actually enjoyed because, again, oftentimes it's, oh, they got the killer, they got this, and they move on with their lives, right? It's okay sometimes when a killer gets by or you get a loose whatever happens. But for me, I like stuff like that. And obviously I know it's not for everybody's cup of tea. There's actually a show coming out in March where it's really strong for 90% of the season. And then the final episode, they just play it the typical safe. And I'm just like, damn, like you really had me. And then it's not to say that it ruins the show, but lackluster reveals can really hinder an entire series that you loved watching from start to finish. You know what I mean? Like, and even in His and Hers, if one of them two would have been revealed as the killer, it would have been like, okay, it is what it is. You know
that is kind of what happened to Presumed Innocent.
Right. Well,
I liked it all the way through, and I was like, I don't know. And now they're bringing
the
back
twist
for another season. I'm like,
they're bringing it back for a different season, but with new people, though. It's a whole entire new cast.
Some new people. Supposedly, there's going to be some.
I don't think like Jake Gyllenhaal's not coming back.
I think Skarsgård is the one that's coming back.
Which would make sense. I mean, I'm fine with him coming back just because he was the one that investigated. I don't hate that. But yeah, nonetheless, good show. What another show we both love over on Peacock. Yes, we're going to talk about a reality TV show. It wouldn't be me. We actually wouldn't be mad either because we covered it last season too. But season 4 of The Traitors. I personally feel like this might have been my favorite season, and I just think that it all comes down to Rob's portrayal of being a traitor. I think that the backlash offline has been a hodgepodge of bullshit. I do think that he's played a great game. Has he played a likable game? No, but it's reality TV and we're playing for money at the end of the day. Like his goal is to lie, cheat, manipulate, all those other things. Whatever he signs at the beginning of the season when they ask you to be a traitor, it tells you, are you willing to go to the depths of hell here to stab everybody in the back? And then, of course, and then Bitter Sally's get mad about it at the end of the show, but it is what it is. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's great, and I thought Rob winning was the icing on the cake. If he wouldn't have won, it probably wouldn't even make my top 10 just because I feel like all of that work would have been rendered useless.
You wouldn't have laughed if Tara and Johnny had been the last two standing.
No, I would have fucking drove a car off a cliff probably. So
I think that last scene, when they suck in and you see Mora's reaction, especially after, my wife doesn't even really watch the show. She kind of listens to it in the background and while she's reading while I'm watching it. But Mora, I've never been in a relationship where I haven't been lied to or cheated on. And I was like, oh God, she's never going to find a boyfriend.
Everybody remember this picture right here. Right here. Obviously, it's like corporate. I need you to see the difference between this picture. It's what are you, an idiot sandwich? And then, Rob looks at Mara and goes, "We're gonna win this game." So
I don't.
I feel bad for her. I do quite a bit, but I also don't because I just love this game and I love watching it. And I'm excited.
There was only a couple of people on this season that I didn't care for, and fortunately, they got excised around the middle.
Michael Rappaport.
Rappaport's fine as an actor, but he was too much, and it was. I actually did not watch the reunion because I was afraid that I was.
He actually didn't get a whole lot of screen time.
Okay, well that's good. But I really didn't.
Candace did whine for 20 minutes.
No, I didn't really care for Colton. I pretty well loathed both of them, and so once they were gone, like I was able to sink into it. But I agree with you about the reaction. Like, here's the thing: that we have known now for 26 years. If you are watching a reality competition show, the nice guy never wins.
No.
Like, I went into the first season of Survivor. I have only ever watched one season of Survivor. It was the first season. I watched it live. By the time we got to the ending and I realized it was the manipulative pieces of work that we're going to get through to the end, I was like, I'm out on that. I don't want to watch it. I had never thought about watching Traitors until I did it because I was covering it with you last year, and I found it somewhat intriguing. It made me laugh a little bit, mostly because I don't know who. When this season started, there were probably only 4 people I knew who they were. I watched the Olympics, so I knew who Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski were, and I knew they were best friends. And I think that it reveals that no one that was in that house has ever watched the freaking Olympics on NBC, because you would know that they sit there and they hold hands and they talk and they do the interviews with the NBC. I mean, how would you think they don't know each other? That to me, that was a constant amusement until halfway. We had no idea you were close. I watched Dancing with the Stars, so I like Mark Ballas. I thought he was a cool guy. And I obviously know who Donna Kelsey is because I watched the NFL. And on occasion, despite my hatred of the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll actually watch New Heights podcast. So that was it. I mostly don't know who the people are. I recognized Ron. I can't think of what his last name
Ron
is.
Funches.
Yeah, who's a comedian. I kind of
Yeah.
recognized him. And Rappaport, I don't know them a lot. But most of those reality people, I have no idea. Lisa Rinna, to me, is Logan's mom from Veronica Mars. I have no idea that she's like a big star on the Bravo Housewives. Never seen the Housewives. Never, despite the fact that we watched 1.5 seasons of Vanderpump Rules, I've still never seen a Housewives show. Never will. But there's something about the format. I think Alan Cumming is hilarious. Did he win the Emmy last year for reality host?
Yeah,
Thank God, because he's incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
And the challenges and the weird things they make them do are kind of incredibly entertaining.
I love he always, and I'm sure it's probably helped with some writing, but the night after the murders where he comes up with the quick one-liners about them being murdered is so good. Every single one.
I mean, the writing's good, but it's the delivery. The pacing. Mm-hmm. Because even some of those lines would not be funny without some of the pacing and the quips and stuff, and his outfits. You never know what he's going to look like. It's kind of hilarious. I think he's the perfect host. So there's just something about it. But you have to know going in, it's going to be manipulation. And I actually thought this season was better than last season because at least you had somebody who was honestly playing the game that made it through instead of a bag of whiners who managed to luck their way into the finale, which is how I felt about season 3's finale.
Yeah, looking ahead in March, let me know. I'm going to say these shows. You can just tell me whether or not you have any piques your interest. Obviously, Marshall season 1. I think they had like a pre-premiere. I think already of that. I think, but I'm
watching it tonight. Yeah,
I heard it's terrible. But I planned on watching maybe at least the first episode. Like our goal here, what we're going to do on the
Casey Dutton can do no wrong.
Couch Surfing Podcast is just watch some shows, tell you what to watch, what not to watch. I didn't realize Daredevil was coming back so soon.
Well, not so soon. It's spring break, so it's like 24th of March. We have almost a month.
What? Oh, they move it from March 4th? This says March 4th, so that could be wrong.
March 20-something. Yeah, it's 24, I think.
They moved it. Okay, this says March 4th here, so whatever.
Last year, it was March 4th.
It's on Rotten Tomatoes. That's what we get for Rotten Tomatoes. Nonetheless, Ted season 2. I actually really liked season 1 of that. Surprisingly, Vladimir's coming to Netflix on March 5th. What is the dinosaurs? Oh, that's just like some.
Yeah, it's Disney Plus March 24th. I usually use the Metacritic calendar because they update it almost daily. I know you'll be excited about The Faithful Women of the Bible, which is coming out for spring break on Fox.
Scarpetta season 1's coming to Prime Video. Secret Life of Mormon Rise returns. I'm excited about that. The Madison's coming.
Imperfect Women, which I know you've already seen. I'm excited for that. Apple's having a heck of a year. And another show that I need to finish the first season, but Your Friends and Neighbors comes out pretty quick. It might be the beginning of April, but it's not too far away. I know that Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, just came back for a second season. I'm kind of shocked Apple hasn't marketed that at all. Apparently, I didn't realize it dropped its second season premiere on Friday.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an expensive piece of IP for them to have not even. You and I are pretty well connected and see a lot of trailers and a lot of press releases. I don't remember seeing a thing.
I did get a press release for this. And I know they had a big thing in LA, but it's like, if you're not in LA, then I guess you didn't notice it's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, only reason I knew, like, I get a specific email, so I just come back. I watched the first season. I liked the first season. I just like, it's just not something that I felt like I need to watch a new season of.
Yeah,
which is fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I agree with you. Like, they spent a lot of money for that show.
Well, and just a lot of money to have the rights for it.
Yeah, that too. Correct. Yeah. And then on the flip side, what do we got here?
But 2 Kurt Russells, because the Madison is dropping. That's the Taylor Sheridan, and obviously Monarch. He's back, so Kurt Russell having a March to remember.
Tyler Perry's Beauty in the Black season 2. I know you're excited about the part 2. Excited about that.
I definitely.
The Faithful. What is The Faithful on Fox? What's that?
The Faithful is that Women of the Bible. So it's supposed to be biblical stories, 5 women from the Bible. I don't exactly know why they're doing it, unless it's to pander to something. It's coming out during Holy Week. It's launching right there at the end of March, kind of going March 22nd. So it's launching into kind of the Holy Week Easter season. I'm guessing that's why they're doing it. But I definitely was. I watched the trailer. There are some interesting performers. I think Minnie Driver is one of the ones that's in it. Minnie Driver, Jeffrey Donovan, Tom Payne.
I thought you were about to say Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Donovan. And I was kind of amused because Nacha Karam, who is in it, and I believe that she's Islamic. Made me laugh. But she was you will recognize her from 911 Lone Star.
And then the comeback, never even watched that. I'm intrigued by Jury Duty Company Retreat. I thought the first season was fun, so we'll just see what they do there.
It's hard though to believe that you're going to find somebody who's a real person who doesn't realize they're getting pranked again. I know they changed it up from the Jury Duty format because people would be looking out for that to something new, but that feels like a high bar to clear.
I totally agree. Something very bad's going to happen is something that looks interesting to me. For Love All of Mankind or whatever is coming back on 27th. My brother loves that show.
I've loved For All Mankind for a long time, but they jump pretty far ahead in time usually. And like Joel Kinnaman, the original star, his character is now supposed to be like in his 90s, which is a little bit of a stretch. And some of these, because that would make sense. They started in the 60s when they were all kind of adults, and now it's supposed to be like up in the 2020s. The first few seasons of that were impeccable. The last season was just okay. I think this is supposed to be like rumored to be the last season.
Interesting, I guess. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode, the first episode of the Couch Surfing Podcast. Like I said, I think we might try to do this monthly, at least monthly, so that we can, so we don't have to talk about all 8,000 shows at one time. It'll be a nice monthly recap for you guys to break down some of the shows that we're watching and whether or not they're worth checking out, because there's so many of them. And I think the one good thing about between Matt and I, Matt checks out a couple episodes of almost everything, and I'm trying to get on his level. That'll never happen, but I'm trying to catch a few episodes here and there, and I think we watch different things. So I think that's what we're going to bring, the unique perspective of what we're watching on TV. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be back probably at the end of March.